Welcome, Starborn. In this video, we delved into some creepypastas and I did some readings of them. If you like what you see, like and subscribe. Let's begin. The Stillwood King. In 1806, settler Elijah Brown became lost for 2 days in what would later be named the Stillwood Forest, a deceptively small wooded area southwest of Icker Falls proper. When he returned to town, Brown was gaunt, dehydrated, and starving to the point of near death, and insisted he was lost not for 2 days but 9. He also had carefully kept journal entries with the rise and set of the sun, and indeed he had made 9 of them. Exhaustion and confusion clearly played a factor in augmenting Brown's story. And of course, after a hard winter, there's no record of how dehydrated and starved Brown may have been before getting lost. Later expeditions into the Stillwood showed that the forest floor is incredibly thick with vegetation, with tall, rail-thin trees making most passage exceedingly difficult. Add to this 3 similarly curving creeks and streams flowing off the Eurythia, the natural sound dampening of the trees and foliage, sometimes so thick that it blocks the sky, and you have a recipe for losing one's way quite easily. However, the Stillwood still carries stigma of being invisibly endless. The legend of the Stillwood King started, interestingly enough, almost immediately after Brown's return. Contrary to popular belief, it was not Brown's story that evolved him into the spooky figure of the legend as time passed, but his experience probably did inspire it. Historians believe either teachers at a schoolhouse bordering the Stillwood, or the parents of the attending children cooked up the legend to keep the kids from wandering into the dangerous woods and getting lost. The legend says that Brown was not the first person to get lost in the Stillwood, but another man entered its wooded labyrinth hundreds of years before. Time doesn't work in the Stillwood the same way it does outside of it, and the longer you're trapped, the longer it seems, even if you've only been gone a few days in the real world. That first victim became a permanent part of the Stillwood. He never found his way back home and should have starved to death, but the Stillwood would never let its king die, so it slowed his heart to a crawl along with the rest of him. They say it beats once per day, and that he can't move more than a foot in an hour. When he's alone, that is. His clothes are ragged and torn, and he's more like a bone-white cadaver than a man. He screams and cries for help, but no one outside can hear him, and over the centuries his screams have become silent. And as he stalks among the dead leaves in exhaustion, praying for death to come, the Stillwood becomes a little more part of him. His blood is creek water and moss, and his skin is the colour of the mushroom caps. They say that if you ever find yourself in Stillwood, you have to be careful where you look. You see, the fact that no one sees him is what disconnected the Stillwood King from the normal passage of time. He is slow and silent as the Stillwood himself, that is, until your eyes fall upon him. You may catch a silver or white through a stand of trees, thinking it to be a crop of mushrooms growing up the side of an old oak. But if it's the king, you'll see the white shape spin around instantly, revealing 2 sunken black eyes and a saw-edged mouth locked in a scream. Now you will hear him. And now he will be quick and loud, and all the things he can't be when no one else is there. He has been waiting for this for a long time, and while you are looking at him, he'll move with all the pent-up time the Stillwood has stolen from him, has saved for him. He will be upon you faster than you can blink. Almost, the legend says. So if you see what looks like a crop of mushrooms as tall as a man in the distance, don't stop to think, don't run, don't do nothing except shut your eyes. The The Stillwood King already knows you're there, and the forest is no obstacle to him when he's fast. He may now be only inches from you, but if you shut your eyes in time, that's where he'll stay. He may now be only inches from you, but if you shut your eyes, that's where he'll... Oh, I read that twice, my bad. Turn completely around, with your eyes still shut tight, and pray that he wasn't fast enough to run behind you in that blink. Now, feel your way through the forest, around the thin, close, brittle trees, and over the dead leaves, which seem oddly quiet. In case he's positioned himself for you to come to him, change direction once. Don't open your eyes until you've gone at least the same distance as the king was from you when you first saw him. With luck, you'll leave him trapped again, his heart beating once a day, his movement only a foot an hour. But if, with your eyes shut, you slowly push against a wet, shambling thing that smells like moss and creek and feels like mushroom caps, open your eyes, so it'll be quick. Right, this one is called Light Bulb. I don't turn the light on in the bathroom anymore. It's a General Electric white 40 watts. They come in packages of 2 or 4. I don't remember when I put that one in, but I must have been the one to put it there, because I remember removing its fixture on the ceiling and losing one of the screws. The socket is rated for 100 watts, but 40 must have been all I had at the time. With the cover off, the light is pale and dull, and a little cold, like a desk lamp in an office. The light is cold even if the bulb isn't. The fixture is low enough that I can stand under it and feel the heat radiating beneath. But with the cream-coloured fixture back in place, it's more than that. It changes the character of the light it casts to be an ambient hazy light, almost directionless, permeating the air, reaching all the way to the bedroom carpet and reflecting, but not harshly, never harshly, off the bathroom tile. There is an ethereal quality that it lends to a person standing in front of the mirror there, a translucency of the skin that makes them seem to glow, like a close-up of a 1960s starlet shot through a gauzy filter. Like a scene from an old movie. I remember it vividly because that's how she looked, with that light folded around her when she was here. I'm considering a GE Reveal 100 watt or a low power halogen 12 volt. Okay, Candle Cove. Sky Shale 033. Subject, Candle Cove Local Kids Show. Does anyone remember this kids show? It was called Candle Cove and I must have been 6 or 7. I never found reference to it anywhere, so I think it was on a local station around 1971 or 1972. I lived in Ironton at the time. I don't remember which station, but I do remember it was on at a weird time, like 4 p.m. Mike Painter, 65. It seems really familiar to me. I grew up outside of Ashland and was 9 years old in 72. Candle Cove. Was it about pirates? I remember a pirate marionette at the mouth of a cave talking to a little girl. Sky Shale. Yes, okay, I'm not crazy. I remember Pirate Percy. I was always kind of scared of him. He looked like he was built from parts of other dolls. Real low budget. His head was an old porcelain baby doll. Looked like an antique that didn't quite belong on the body. I don't remember what station this was. I don't think it was WTSF though. Jaren 2005. Sorry to resurrect this old thread, but I know exactly what you mean, Sky Shale. I think Candle Cove ran for only a couple of months in 71, not 72. I was 12 and I watched it a few times with my brother. It was channel 58, whatever station that was. My mum would let me switch to it after the news. Let me see what I remember. It took place in Candle Cove, and it was about a little girl who imagined herself to be friends with pirates. The pirate ship was called the Laughingstock, and Pirate Percy wasn't a very good pirate because he got scared too easily. There was aloud music constantly playing. I don't remember the girl's name. Janice or Jade or something? I think it was Janice. Skyshell, thank you, Jaren. Memories flooded back when you mentioned the Laughingstock and Channel 58. I remember the bow of the ship with a wooden smiling face, with the lower jaw submerged. It looked like it was swallowing the sea, and had that awful Edwin voice and laugh. I especially remember how jarring it was when they switched from the wooden plastic model to the foam puppet version of the head that talked. Mike, haha, I remember now too. You remember this part, Skyshell? You have to go inside. Skyshell, Mike, I got a chill reading that. Yes, I remember. That's what the ship always told Percy when there was a spooky place he had to go in, like a cave or a dark room where the treasure was, and the camera would push in on the Laughingstock's face with each pause. You have to go inside. With his two eyes askew and that flopping foam mouth jaw and the fishing line that opened and closed it. Ugh, it just looks so cheap and awful. You guys remember the villain? He had a face that was just a handlebar moustache above really tall narrow teeth. Kevin, honestly thought the villain was Pirate Percy. I was about 5 when the show was on. Nightmare fuel. Jaren, that wasn't the villain, the puppet with the moustache. That was the villain's sidekick, Horace Horrible. He had a monocle too, and it was on top of the moustache. I used to think that meant he only had one eye. But yeah, the villain was another marionette, the Skin Taker. I can't believe what they let us watch back then. Kevin, Jesus H. Christ. The Skin Taker, what kind of kids shows were we watching? I seriously could not look at the screen when the Skin Taker showed up. Just descended out of nowhere on strings, just a dirty skeleton wearing the brown top, hat and cape, and his glass eyes that were too big for his skull. Christ almighty. Skyshell, wasn't his top hat and cloak all sewn crazily? Was that supposed to be children's skin? What? Mike painted. Yeah, I think so. Remember his mouth didn't open and close, his jaw just slid back and forth. I remember the little girl say, "Why does your mouth move like that?" And the Skin Taker didn't look at the girl but at the camera and said, "To grind your skin." Skyshell, I'm so relieved that other people remember this terrible show. I used to have an awful memory, a bad dream I had where the opening jingle ended, the show faded in from black, and all the characters were there, but the camera was just cut into each of their faces and they were just screaming, and the puppets and marionettes were flailing spastically and just all screaming. The girl was just moaning and crying like she'd been through hours of this. I woke up many times from that nightmare. I used to wet the bed when I had it. Kevin, I don't think that was a dream. I remember that was an episode. Kaishel, no, not possible. There was no plot or anything. I mean, literally just standing in place crying and screaming for the whole show. Kevin, maybe I'm manufacturing the memory because you said that, but I swear to God I remember seeing what you described. They just screamed. Baron, oh God, yes, the little girl Janice, I remember seeing her shake and the Skin Taker screaming through his gnashing teeth, his jaw careening so wildly I thought it would just come off its wire hinges. I turned it off and was the last time I watched. I ran to tell my brother and we didn't have the courage to turn it back on. Mike, I visited my mum today at the nursing home. I asked her about when I was little in the early 70s when I was 8 or 9. She remembered a kids show, Candle Cove. She said she was surprised I could remember that, and I asked why, and she said because I used to think it was so strange that you said, "I'm going to go watch Candle Cove now, Mum," and then you would tune the TV to static and just watch dead air for 30 minutes. You had a big imagination with your little pirate show. Thank you for watching. Goodbye!